Well, we have a shock, quite frankly, an absolute shock, I think. Jahmyr Gibbs has been selected. I have a film study about what I like about him as a player and my concerns about him as a player. I'm a little bit lower on him than other people are in terms of like his blocking and stuff like that, but I think I'm actually higher on him in terms of his pure rushing. I don't think there's a huge gap just as a pure runner than Bijan Robinson and Gibbs. I really don't, and that's what to get excited about, if you're a Lions fan. Hey, you're trying to compete right now. I always say the one example of one you should draft a running back in the first round is if you're trying to compete right now. And I actually don't hate this pick as much as I dislike the Bijan Robinson pick for that reason. I think that, Gibbs isn't going to play for 10 years. That's just not typically what happens. And usually if it is, it's because you hang around as sort of a backup for 5 of them, right? But they don't necessarily need him to. They're trying to be competitive on his rookie deal. That's what they're trying to do and be competitive this next year. I just don't like this pick. I just don't. I don't think it's smart. I just don't think drafting a running back this high is the smart play. There's so many more valuable upside picks, I think, that they could have gone with, and I wish that they did that instead of what they did. That's what I would have done if I was the Lions. But again, that's my opinion. I think you can get some really good halfbacks in round 6, so maybe don't have to spend a first round pick on one of those guys. I think going after someone else that just could have been in a bigger position of need could have been better for them. But again, that's a me thing because I don't love running backs. If you are someone, or I don't value them as highly as other people do. If you are someone who really values that position and does see it as kind of a premium position, then I'm not as mad at it. I kind of do understand the logic behind, listen, they like to run the ball. They have a great offensive line. If you have a great offensive line and you like to run the ball, get someone who can run the ball well. That part I totally understand. And I think that's what's exciting if you're a Lions fan, is that you're doing this, is that you're going all in now. And again, for year one, this could end up even being the right move, especially right here. There isn't a great selection left, right? Jalen Carter's off the board now. Peter Skoronski's off the board now. Kind of like the last of the great prospects, in my opinion, are off the board. So I think there was players that could have just been in a more valuable spot, personally, a more valuable position. I have no issue, with Gibbs as a player. I mean, again, I have some nitpicks, which we'll get into. My only criticisms are really the positional value. But, that being said, let's talk about him as a player and what he brings to the table. Let's just get into it. So this is his Pro Football Focus page you see right here. He did have his best year in 2021, interestingly enough. Those are kind of the 2 years he got significant playing time. Played a bit in 2020, but 2021 and 2022 where he got the most playing time. And, solid grades both times. Not outstanding last year with 82.6, but again, I wouldn't pay too much attention to PFF grades just simply because at the running back position, it doesn't tend to translate really at all to the NFL level. There really isn't much evidence, but kind of a nice thing to just look at. I like to just show these before we're getting into the film study, just to kind of show what he's capable of and how PFF views him, which is one company's opinion of him, I should say. But anyway, let's get into the film. Let's talk about what he does well. He's a ferocious runner. I really do believe, I don't think there's a massive difference as just a pure rusher between him and Bijan Robinson. I really don't. And here's an example of what he can do so well. Number 42 is going to be doing a good job of kind of trying to disrupt this play. Watch how when it begins, you see that there was a double team intended to get him, but it did not work out too well. He's able to get over, and at this point, it looks like Gibbs is just done for, essentially. However, watch how Gibbs somehow breaks out of this situation and is able to turn a negative into a positive. That's an incredible play, and he did this consistently. Again, as a pure rusher, there's a lot to not just like about his tape, there's a lot to love about his tape. This plays another example, and really I have to say, it reminds me of a Kenneth Walker sometimes, how he can run, where it's going to be a run to the offense's right, which is towards the left side of the screen. Watch how when Gibbs eventually gets the ball, you see that there's a window, and definitely there's a hole for him to run through, and this is something that happened. Listen, he had some good offensive linemen on his team, sure, although again, had to go up against tough competition, so it goes both ways, but in good situations, he really succeeded, I thought, and here's an example where you see that hole that he can run run through, so this is a good situation. But watch how when it closes, he still is able to get through it quick enough to pick up as many yards as possible. He's very explosive, and that is definitely what you have to like about him if you're drafting him, is that explosiveness. You know, ran a 4.36. That's incredibly fast, and definitely the speed is real. You see it on tape. I think that there's really good stuff there. Like, this one's another example of, I think people maybe are underrating his power a little bit. Again, just 5'9", 199 pounds. Definitely a little bit of a littler back. There's no denying that. But you see that there's, a double team on a nose tackle. Someone's going to get off the double team and block a linebacker. That's the way this play is supposed to work. Right when this play begins, that double team works out perfectly, and there is now a window for Gibbs to try and run through. Again, not huge. 42 actually on defense is going to be able to get over and reach his arm out, but watch what Gibbs does. Again, watch him just sort of power through, and he doesn't get taken down totally easily. Again, eventually when, there's 3 guys on him, then he's going to get taken down, but it's not quite so easy, and that's definitely another thing that I like about Gibbs. I do. Also, this play, it's going to be, again, you see the running, the blocking concept on your screen, and this is very fascinating of a play, actually. Watch how when it begins, you see that, quarterback hands the ball off, but also then kind of points over and says, hey, go that way. Now, I gotta be honest, I'm not sure what the value of a quarterback pointing is going to do here, given the fact that, the running back isn't turned around, doesn't have eyes in the back of his head. If anything, it's probably just helping out the defense know what's going on, so maybe don't do that. But is Gibbs going to be able to realize what the quarterback realizes, that the best gap for him to run through is going to be towards the left side of the screen? Well, that answer is going to be yes. He does do a good job of being able to make that happen. So, again, good stuff. I think he has very good vision, tends to pick the right gaps pretty quickly, and then shoots through them quickly because he's so fast. So, sometimes these fast guys, it almost gets him in trouble because they don't have time to read the gap exactly, and sometimes that hurts them. But Gibbs does a good job. He still takes the time if he has to figure out what gap is going to be open. But then once he knows it, he shoots through it very well. So, again, as a runner, I really like him. My only couple issues of him, did fumble a bit in college. Don't love to see that, and I just don't love him as a blitz picker-upper. That's just not something that he's really good at, and that's a real thing that I value, is someone who can block as well as run with the football, and he's not quite as good as that, which is why I dropped him a little bit in my draft, but I still had him as a top 5 back in this draft. He was number 4 on my list, and most people have him at number 2, and I totally get why, because there's ton of value. And again, as a runner, I think you could argue he's number 1 as just a pure rusher. I still wouldn't have him above Robinson, but he's my favorite just pure rusher of the football, which if you're drafting him to run the football. You're not drafting him to block. So it's just an interesting thing. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Gibbs. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.